Ready to donate a few more minutes of your day to this public service of absolute uselessness? Because, my friends, today's family drama is so unhinged, it makes your brain try to close the app, file a complaint, and ask for store credit.
Here's the deal. Nina gets one text that sounds like a joke, walks into a Sunday lunch that looks normal, and then realizes the family tree isn't a tree at all. It's a pretzel doing Pilates. Stick with me, my friends, because the reveal keeps revealing, and every time you think it cannot get more confusing, it does.
So do the responsible thing. Subscribe, like, comment, and share this with that friend who swears their family is normal. And yes, grab a coffee and follow this absurd and confusing story with me, because we are not surviving this without caffeine.
Nina was not the type who hunted drama. Drama hunted Nina. It was a basic, low-stakes afternoon. Cozy clothes. Hair in a bun that politely announced she was done trying. A mug of coffee that was supposed to be peaceful. Then her phone buzzed with the energy of a problem wearing glitter. The message came from Mara, a distant cousin with a very specific talent showing up only when something was on fire. Mara did not say hi. Mara did not ask how Nina was doing. Mara dropped a single sentence like a bowling ball through glass. Their uncle married his sister's daughter. They had 2 kids. And now the kids had a grandma on their mom's side and an aunt on their dad's side. And it was the same person. Nina read it once. She read it again. Then she stared at the screen like the screen had personally betrayed her. Because there are different kinds of complicated families. There is complicated like someone is dating someone's ex and Thanksgiving is tense. Then there is complicated like you need a flowchart, a therapist, and a priest who specializes in advanced algebra. Nina typed back the only thing her brain could safely produce.
Wait, what?
Mara responded immediately, which told Nina everything she needed to know. Sunday lunch.
Come.
I will explain. If I can. Nina sat there in silence, coffee cooling, eyes wide. Not because she was being nosy. Because she needed to confirm reality was still being managed by adults. On the drive over, Nina tried to map it out. Uncle. His sister. His sister's daughter. Marriage.
Kids.
Nina opened her notes app and started drawing lines like she was solving a conspiracy. After a few minutes, the notes looked like a ransom letter made by a stressed-out accountant. She typed one word in the corner, without even meaning to. Help. She pulled into the driveway and stared at the house. From the outside, it looked like every normal Sunday gathering, cars lined up, laughter spilling out, the smell of grilling, kids shrieking like tiny banshees. It looked so normal that it made Nina's stomach twist. Because when something is truly wrong, the scariest part is how normal it can look. Nina stepped into the backyard and saw the main cast immediately. Uncle Esteban stood at the grill, flipping burgers like he was the mayor of Barbecue Town. Big smile. Loud laugh. Confident posture. He held one of the kids on his hip like a proud dad because he was a proud dad. The kid giggled and tugged his hair, innocent as sunshine. Then Nina saw the wife.
Alma. Young.
Put together. That polished, practiced smile that looks warm but also looks like survival. Nina's chest tightened. Not because Alma existed. Because the whole scene was framed like it was wholesome. Mara appeared at Nina's side with the urgency of someone dragging a friend away from a haunted house.
Come here.
Before someone ropes you into small talk and you get stuck saying, "Wow, what a nice patio," while your soul is screaming. Mara led Nina toward the drinks table and lowered her voice. Okay. Grill guy is Esteban. Nina nodded. Blue dress is Alma. Nina nodded again, bracing herself. Alma is Julia's daughter. Nina waited, hopeful that Julia was an unrelated person. Mara's face said no such luck. Julia is Esteban's sister. Nina froze so hard she could have been used as lawn decor. Nina's eyes flicked back to Esteban, then to Alma, then back. So, he married his niece. Mara's expression was equal parts exhausted and furious. Yes. Nina opened her mouth and nothing came out. Her brain was trying to protect her by shutting down. Then her words returned in fragments.
How? Why?
Who allowed? When did? Mara cut her off with a short laugh that was basically a cry in disguise. Nobody allowed it. It just happened. And then suddenly there was a ring and paperwork, and everyone pretended it was love and not a whole situation. Nina's coffee turned into acid in her stomach. Mara started the backstory because this was not a random accident. This had roots. There was a matriarch, of course, because there is always a matriarch in these stories, and she is never a gentle one. Doa Clara. Mara called her Grandma Clara, but Nina immediately labeled her the CEO of Control. Grandma Clara ran the family like a corporation. She decided who was in, who was out, who was forgiven, who was punished. Julia was the daughter who tried to escape. She married young, had Alma, got divorced, and came back home because life does not care about pride. Esteban was the golden child, the fixer, the man who always helped. He was always there, always available, always involved. And Nina felt something cold settle in her chest, because always involved can sometimes mean always watching. Mara spoke carefully, like the words had teeth. When Alma was a kid, Esteban drove her places, picked her up, bought her gifts, helped with homework, took her to school events. Everyone thought it was sweet. Family helps family, right? But when Alma became a teenager, Esteban shifted. He started acting like he had a claim. When Alma dated boys, Esteban did not just disapprove. He sabotaged. He complained. He cornered. He interfered. He'd say no one was good enough. He'd say she deserved someone who understood the family. Nina's jaw tightened. Understood the family sounded less like romance and more like a warning label. Nina scanned the backyard again and finally saw Julia. Julia stood near the kitchen door, arranging plates and napkins like busy hands could keep a heart from cracking. She smiled at people, but it was a tired smile. Her eyes looked like someone who had swallowed too many screams. Nina asked the question that felt impossible. Julia is here with them? Mara nodded.
Yeah.
How does she exist in this? Mara exhaled. Because Alma is her daughter. And those kids are her grandkids. Nina's throat tightened. And also, Mara added, voice barely above a whisper, those kids are Esteban's children. So Julia is also their aunt. Nina stared into the middle distance like her brain was buffering. So the kids have a grandma on their mom's side. And that same woman is their aunt on their dad's side. Mara nodded.
Yes.
Nina pressed her fingers to her forehead. My friends, this is what happens when denial gets a mortgage and moves in permanently. Nina tried to just observe quietly. But families like this have a sixth sense. They can smell judgment the way dogs smell fear. And Nina's face, unfortunately, was not built for poker. One of the kids ran up to Julia with a toy and yelled, Grandma.
Look.
Julia smiled, kissed the kid's forehead, said something sweet. Then Esteban walked by and casually asked Julia if she'd seen his phone, like this was just a normal co-parenting arrangement. Julia answered, steady and flat, it's in the living room. And then the kid turned and shouted, cheerful as anything, Uncle Esteban. Nina's head snapped up. The kid had just called his father uncle. Nina looked at Mara, eyes wide. Mara gave Nina the look that said, do not ask questions you are not emotionally prepared to answer. Nina ignored it, because Nina had never been emotionally prepared for anything in her life, and yet here she was. She crouched down to the kid's level and asked gently, like she was defusing a bomb. Hey, buddy, why do you call him your uncle? The kid shrugged, completely calm. Because Grandma said he's Mommy's uncle, so he's my uncle too. Nina's soul left her body, did a lap around the yard, and returned with paperwork. Because the kid's logic was correct inside a broken system. Alma called from the table, honey, come eat. The kid ran to her yelling, Mom. And Nina had to clamp the inside of her cheek to keep from laughing out of sheer panic. Because it was absurd, but it was also heartbreaking. Then came the Force family photo. Grandma Clara clapped her hands like a director calling action. Family picture. Everybody together. People lined up. Esteban in the center. Alma beside him. Kids in front. Julia slightly off to the side, like a guest in her own life. Grandma Clara started directing with that fake cheer that tastes like control. Julia, stand closer to your. And she paused. because even the CEO of Denial lost track of the titles. She recovered with a generic label. Stand closer to the kid's father. Problem avoided. And then the universe, petty and perfect, delivered the moment. The older kid looked up and asked in a loud, innocent voice, "Dad, are you Mommy's uncle?" Everything stopped. Alma laughed too fast. "Oh, honey, that's grown-up stuff." The kid tried again. But Grandma said. Grandma Clara snapped like a mousetrap. "Enough."
Kids don't talk about that.
And Nina felt the cold clarity settle in. This was not just confusion. This was control. Because if you name it, it becomes real. If it becomes real, people have to deal with it. So they banned the words. Esteban smiled, satisfied. Julia stared at the ground. Nina wanted to flip the entire patio set. Nina escaped to the kitchen to breathe. Mara followed her like a shadow. Nina whispered, voice tight, "This is heavy." Mara nodded, eyes glossy. "And if you question it, you become the villain. They say you're judging love, like you're the problem." Nina scoffed.
Love. Sure.
Mara crossed her arms. Alma defends him. Says nobody understands. Says everyone is jealous. Nina's jaw clenched. Classic. If you don't clap, you're an enemy. Mara's voice softened, like she hated even thinking it. Sometimes it feels like Alma didn't choose so much as she followed the script she grew up inside. Nina went quiet, because that was the point where humor turned into something sharper. Power dynamics do not become harmless, because someone calls them family. Across the yard, Esteban laughed loudly with the other men, acting like a hero in a story he wrote himself. Nina watched him for a moment and thought something she did not want to think. Some people love being needed, especially when needed really means in charge. Nina's phone buzzed again. A message from an aunt in the family group chat. "So happy everyone is together. Family is everything." Nina stared at it, then looked out at the yard and felt the nausea again. Family can be everything. Family can also be a cage with pretty decorations. Later, when the food came out and everyone was pretending, Nina ended up near Julia by accident. Julia was cutting fruit for the kids. Her hands moved with automatic precision. Nina watched her for a second too long, because Julia's face looked like someone holding back a tidal wave. Julia glanced up and caught Nina looking. For a moment, Julia's eyes flashed with something that looked like apology and anger at the same time. Then Julia turned back to the fruit like nothing happened. Nina wanted to say something. Anything. But what do you say at a family barbecue when the problem is the barbecue? Instead, Nina asked softly, like she was speaking through glass. "How are you doing?" Julia's hand paused for a fraction of a second. Then Julia smiled that tired smile again. "Fine." It was the most expensive fine Nina had ever heard. On the drive home, Mara finally said it out loud. "I don't know what to do." Nina glanced over. "Do you want to do something?" Mara swallowed hard. "I want the kids to grow up not thinking this is normal. I want Julia to stop breaking herself. I want Alma to wake up." Nina exhaled. And there it was, the question that lives under all family drama. What do you do when the whole family protects the silence? What would you do in my place? Would you cut them off to protect your sanity? Would you stay close so someone has an exit? Would you confront Grandma Clara and risk becoming the next target?
O que você faria no meu lugar?
Se você chegou até aqui, apoie com o like because if you are still here, you are basically holding Nina's hand through the chaos. And comment right now if you have ever seen a family situation so messy you needed a nap just to process it. Nina thought Sunday lunch was the end. It was not. In families like this, Sunday is the trailer. A few days later, Nina's phone buzzed again. It was Mara. It blew up. Nina sat down immediately. What happened? Mara's voice note came through, shaky and fast. Alma and Julia fought. Like screaming. Julia finally said everything. Said Esteban manipulated things. Said he ruined her life. Said he took advantage of the fact that she was struggling and Alma was young, and everyone was trapped under Grandma Clara's roof. Nina's stomach dropped. And then, Mara's voice cracked. Esteban exploded. Said Julia was jealous. said she wanted to destroy his happiness. And Grandma Clara took his side, of course. Told Julia to shut up. Said she was poisoning Alma. Nina's hands curled into fists. And the worst part? Mara paused, and Nina could hear the fear in the silence. Alma chose Esteban. Told Julia to leave. Nina stared at the wall. Because, of course, when someone grows up being trained that love equals loyalty, leaving feels like betrayal. Julia left and stayed with a friend. And that's when the story stopped feeling like an absurd puzzle and started feeling like a real wound. Nina went to see Julia. Julia sat on a couch holding a mug like it was the only thing anchoring her to the world. Eyes swollen, shoulders tight. She apologized immediately because people like Julia always apologize first. I'm sorry you saw all that. Nina sat beside her. You don't have to apologize. Julia let out a small, bitter laugh. Yes, I do. Because I let it happen. Nina shook her head slowly. You were trapped. Julia looked at Nina like that word was a foreign language.
Trapped.
Nina nodded. By your mother. By the image.
By fear.
By the idea that keeping quiet was protecting Alma. Julia's voice broke. I'm her mother. I should have protected her. Nina felt that ache of empathy that makes your throat tighten, because that guilt can swallow a person whole. Nina spoke carefully. You tried. And you can still protect your grandkids by staying alive and setting boundaries. That matters. Julia cried.
Not pretty crying.
Real crying. The kind that leaves you exhausted but lighter. A day later, Alma sent Julia a message. Not an apology. A photo of the kids with a caption. They miss you. Julia showed Nina, with shaking hands. She's pulling me back in. Nina looked at the photo and felt sick. Because kids become leverage in these situations, whether anyone admits it or not. Nina said the truth. You can love them and still set limits. You can be present without going back to the place that breaks you. Julia whispered. What if they keep them for me? Nina did not promise miracles. Nina did not give a speech. Nina said something practical and human. Then you do not do this alone. You document. You get support. You make sure there are witnesses to your reality. Julia nodded slowly. I just want to see my grandkids. And you will. But on your terms. Julia chose to meet the kids at a park. Public place. Witnesses. Open space. No walls to trap her. Nina came too, staying back, pretending to scroll her phone but watching like a hawk. Alma arrived with the kids without Esteban. That alone was a small miracle. The kids ran into Julia's arms like nothing had changed. Julia held them tight, and Nina saw life return to Julia's face for a moment. Then, like clockwork, Esteban showed up anyway. Because control hates distance. He walked up with a calm smile that never reached his eyes. Julia, we need to talk. Julia inhaled and said one word.
No.
Esteban laughed. You're being dramatic. Julia looked at him, steady. I'm setting boundaries. Esteban leaned closer. You'll regret this. Julia's voice stayed calm. I've already regretted enough. Esteban glanced around and noticed the eyes on him. Other parents. A jogger. A couple on a bench. Witnesses. He stepped back, not because he changed, but because he was being watched. And my friends, this is why public spaces matter. Control hates witnesses. After that, things did not magically become perfect. But something shifted. Julia stopped crawling back. Mara stopped pretending. And Alma, slowly, started showing cracks in the script. Not big, dramatic declarations. Small changes. Delayed responses. Quiet questions. A long pause when Grandma Clara delivered one of her speeches about family loyalty. Mara called Nina one night and said it in a whisper, like she was afraid the walls would hear. Alma asked me if it's normal for kids to be confused about who people are. Nina sat up. What did you say? Mara sounded careful. I told her kids only get confused when adults make things confusing. Silence. Then Mara added, voice tight. Alma didn't argue. She just went quiet. The next Sunday, Grandma Clara hosted again. Because Grandma Clara believed in two things: control and casseroles. The group chat lit up with cheerful commands. Be there at noon. Bring a side dish. Wear something nice. Family photo again. Nina read the messages and felt her stomach twist. Mara texted separately. She's trying to pull the whole thing back together. Like, if we all stand close enough, the truth disappears. Nina replied. Truth does not disappear. It just waits. At noon, Nina arrived and immediately felt the temperature. Not weather temperature. Emotional temperature. The backyard was filled with the same people, but the laughter sounded thinner. Julia was not there, and her absence screamed. Grandma Clara acted like it did not matter. That was her specialty, pretending loss was a choice. Esteban was louder than usual. Alma looked contained, like someone sitting very still in a room that might explode. The kids ran around completely unaware because kids are not responsible for adult secrets. Grandma Clara cornered Nina near the drinks. So, Nina, she said, sweet voice, sharp eyes, did you have a good time last week? Nina smiled politely. It was memorable. Grandma Clara laughed, delighted. Family gatherings always are. Nina's smile stayed on her face, but her insides tightened. Because Grandma Clara did not say family. Grandma Clara said brand. Then came the moment that always comes in these families. A child asked a question. The older kid looked at Grandma Clara and asked, loud and curious, why do people get mad when I call Dad my uncle? The backyard froze. Alma's head snapped toward the kid. Esteban's face hardened. Grandma Clara smiled too wide. Oh, honey, she said, kids say silly things. The kid frowned. But it's true. Dad is Mommy's uncle. Esteban stepped forward. Enough. His voice was not loud, but it was heavy. The kid flinched, and Nina's stomach turned. Because that was not correction. That was intimidation. Alma quickly bent down, smoothed the kid's hair, forced a smile. Go play, baby. The kid ran off, confused. Grandma Clara's voice snapped back into sugary control. Children don't understand adult relationships. Nina almost laughed, but it would have been the wrong kind of laugh. Because children understand more than adults want them to. Children just do not have the power to change it. Nina pulled Mara aside later. The kids are asking questions. In public. Mara's face was pale. I know. And Grandma Clara is panicking behind her smile. That's why she keeps hosting. She thinks she can stage manage reality. Nina watched Esteban across the yard, laughing too loudly. He loves this, Nina said. Mara nodded, voice bitter. He loves being untouchable. That night, Julia called Nina. Julia's voice sounded smaller than before, like she was calling from the bottom of a well. Alma messaged me. Nina sat up. What did she say? Julia swallowed. She asked if we could meet. Just us. No one else. Nina's heart jumped. That's big. Julia sounded terrified. What if she's setting me up? What if Esteban is behind it? What if Mom is behind it? Nina spoke carefully. Meet in public. Bring Mara. Keep it neutral. Keep it safe. Julia exhaled shakily. Okay. The next day, they met at a coffee shop. Not a cozy, intimate one where everyone whispers. A bright one with a line out the door, too many people, and baristas who have seen every kind of drama and do not care. Alma arrived alone. No Esteban. No Grandma Clara. That alone made Nina's skin prickle. Alma looked exhausted. Not tired like she did not sleep. Exhausted like she did not have permission to breathe. Julia stood up slowly, careful, like one wrong word might break everything. Alma looked at her mother and did not smile. Then Alma whispered,
Hi.
Julia's voice trembled. Hi, baby. Alma's eyes filled with tears immediately, like her body had been saving them for years. Julia reached out, but Alma flinched, then corrected herself and stayed. They sat. They stared at their coffee, like coffee could solve generational trauma. Alma spoke first, voice quiet. I don't know what's wrong with me. Julia's face tightened. Nothing is wrong with you. Alma shook her head. Sometimes I feel like I'm not real. Like I'm acting. Like I'm repeating lines someone gave me. Mara's eyes widened slightly. Nina kept her face calm, but her heart raced. Julia asked softly. When did you start feeling that way? Alma swallowed. When I became a mom. Julia blinked. Alma continued, words spilling faster now. Because I look at them, and I think, what am I teaching them without meaning to? Julia's eyes filled with tears. Alma's voice cracked. They call him uncle sometimes, and I laugh it off, but it feels wrong. Julia's hand trembled on the table. Alma looked up, eyes shiny. Is it wrong? And my friends, that question was the crack in the dam. Julia did not lecture. Julia did not accuse. Julia did the hardest thing. Julia told the truth with gentleness. It's confusing for kids, Julia said. It puts them in a position where they have to make sense of adult choices. Alma whispered. So it's not normal. Julia shook her head slowly. No, baby. It isn't. Alma's breath hitched. Then Alma asked something that hit like a punch. Why didn't you stop it? Julia flinched, like the words slapped her. Mara leaned forward, but Julia raised a hand, like she needed to handle it herself. Julia's voice was raw. I tried. I screamed. I fought. I begged. I threatened. And then Grandma Clara, she buried it. She told me if I kept fighting, I would lose you. She told me I was destroying the family. Alma stared at her mother, stunned. Julia continued, voice shaking. And I was afraid. I was so afraid that if I pushed too hard, you would hate me. That you would choose him anyway, and I would lose you forever. Alma's face crumpled. I did choose him. Julia's voice softened. I know. Alma started crying, quietly, like she was ashamed of every tear. Julia reached across the table, and this time Alma did not flinch. Julia held Alma's hands. And Nina felt the air change. Because this was not a fight. This was a bridge. Alma whispered. I don't want my kids to grow up confused. Julia nodded. Me either. Alma's eyes flicked toward the window, like she expected Esteban to appear at any second. Julia spoke carefully. You don't have to decide everything today. Alma swallowed. I'm scared. Julia squeezed her hands. I know. Alma's voice was barely audible. What if I leave and everyone hates me? What if Grandma says I'm evil?
What if they take my kids?
Nina's chest tightened. Because there it was. The fear that keeps people stuck. Julia inhaled slowly.
We take it step by step, she said.
We do it safely. We do it with support. You don't do it alone. Alma nodded, crying. Then Alma said something that made Mara's breath catch. Sometimes I don't remember deciding. I just remember it becoming reality. Julia's eyes closed for a second. And Nina, watching, felt a cold anger rise. Because becoming reality is what happens when choices get shaped by pressure. When Alma left the coffee shop, she did not announce a plan. She did not declare a breakup. This was not a movie. But she walked away with something she did not have before.
Doubt.
And doubt is terrifying. But doubt is also the beginning of freedom. That evening, Grandma Clara's group chat lit up. Where are you? Why are you ignoring me? Family dinner tomorrow. We need to talk. Do not disrespect your elders. Nina watched the messages stack up like bricks. Then Esteban texted Nina directly, which made Nina's skin crawl. Hey, just checking in. Everything okay with Julia? Nina stared at it. My friends, when the villain texts politely, it is never politeness. It is surveillance wearing a smile. Nina replied short. She's fine. Esteban responded.
Good.
Families should stick together. Nina nearly threw her phone into the sink. The next week turned into a slow-motion power struggle. Grandma Clara hosted another gathering because she could not stand the feeling of not controlling the narrative. Julia did not attend. Alma attended but looked distant. Esteban attended and performed happiness like a politician at a parade. The kids ran around, bright and wild and completely unaware that their adulthood was being scripted in real time. At one point, the older kid started drawing on the patio with sidewalk chalk. He drew a stick figure family. He labeled them
Mom, Dad, Grandma.
Then he paused, chalk hovering. He looked up and asked Alma, confused. What do I call Grandma Julia again? She's my grandma and my aunt. Alma went still. Esteban heard. Esteban walked over. Esteban crouched down too close. Esteban's voice was sweet.
You call her grandma.
That's all you need to know. The kid nodded, but his face looked uncertain. And Nina watched Alma's eyes flicker. Because Alma noticed it too. Not just the confusion. The way Esteban controlled the moment. That night, Alma called Mara. Alma sounded breathless.
I think he's watching me.
Mara's voice stayed calm, but her hands shook. What makes you say that? Alma whispered. He asked me where I went yesterday, and I lied, and he knew.
He knew, Mara.
He smiled and said okay, and I felt trapped. Mara swallowed. Are you safe right now? Alma hesitated. I'm in the bathroom. Mara's chest tightened. Okay.
Listen. Breathe.
You're not crazy. You're not making it up. You have options. Alma started crying. I can't do this. Mara's voice softened. You already are. You called. That's doing it. A few days later, Alma asked Julia to meet again. This time, Alma arrived with a folder. Not dramatic. Not performative. Just prepared. Julia's eyes widened. What's that? Alma whispered. Copies. Julia's throat tightened. Of what? Alma opened the folder just enough to show paperwork. Birth certificates. Insurance. A lease. Bank statements. Julia blinked rapidly. Alma's voice shook. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I need to be able to leave if I have to. Julia reached out and held Alma's hand again. You're doing exactly what you need to do. Alma's eyes filled with tears. I feel guilty. Julia's voice was steady. Guilt is what they trained you to feel. Safety is what you deserve. Esteban noticed the shift. People like Esteban always notice. He started calling Alma more, texting more, showing up unexpectedly. And Grandma Clara, sensing control slipping, escalated. Grandma Clara called Julia and left a voicemail. Julia listened with Nina sitting beside her. Grandma Clara's voice was syrupy and sharp. I don't know what demon got into you, but you are tearing this family apart. You are embarrassing me. You are hurting Alma. You are hurting the children. If you loved them, you would stop this nonsense. Julia stared at the phone after it ended, hands trembling. Nina whispered, That's not love. That's a leash. Julia swallowed hard. I know. Then Julia surprised Nina by saying something new. I don't want to be afraid of her anymore. Nina's chest warmed. That sentence was a door opening.
Julia started therapy.
Not the cute kind where you post a quote online and call it healing. The real kind. The kind that makes you nauseous and exhausted. The kind that pulls memories out of closets you nailed shut. In therapy, Julia said a sentence that made her voice crack. I thought keeping quiet was protecting Alma. The therapist asked gently. Protecting her from what? Julia went silent. Because that question was the whole trap. Julia had been protecting Alma from conflict. But conflict was not the enemy. Control was. Meanwhile, Alma's kids started asking questions at school. A teacher called Alma one afternoon. Nothing accusatory. Just concerned. The teacher said the older child had drawn a family picture and labeled people in a way that confused the other kids. The teacher said the child seemed anxious when asked about family roles. Alma's throat went dry because it was leaking out into the world. And the world was noticing. That night, Alma looked at Esteban and said carefully, We need to talk about what the kids understand. Esteban smiled, too calm. They understand enough. Alma's voice trembled. They're confused. Esteban's eyes hardened for a second, then softened again into performance.
They don't need to understand.
They need to obey. Alma flinched. And that was the moment, my friends, when Alma realized it was not about love. It was about power. Alma called Julia late that night. Julia answered immediately. Alma whispered. He said the kids need to obey. Julia sat up, voice sharp with fear. Did he say it like a joke? Alma's breathing shook.
No.
He said it like it was normal. Julia swallowed.
Okay. Listen to me. You are not overreacting.
You are not dramatic. You are hearing what you are hearing. Alma started crying.
I don't want them to be scared of him.
Julia's voice softened. Then we keep moving forward. Step by step.
Safely.
Grandma Clara tried a different tactic when guilt did not work. Grandma Clara got sick. Or at least, Grandma Clara announced she was unwell. Suddenly, the group chat exploded with urgency. Pray for Grandma. Visit Grandma. Bring soup. Family comes first. Mara texted Nina privately. She turned on her hospital mode. Nina replied, Control with a side of chicken noodle. Julia did not run to Grandma Clara's bedside. Julia sent a polite message. Hope you feel better. Let me know if you need anything. Grandma Clara responded with a single line. If you loved me, you would come. Julia stared at it, breathing hard. Then Julia put her phone down. And did not go. Nina watched Julia's hand shake. Nina asked softly, Are you okay? Julia whispered, I'm terrified. Nina nodded. And you're still not going? Julia swallowed.
No.
That was a boundary. And boundaries are terrifying when you have never been allowed to have them. Esteban escalated. He showed up at Julia's friend's house where Julia was staying. He knocked like he owned the door. Julia did not open it. Nina was there that day because Nina had learned quickly that being alone was dangerous in this kind of family war. Esteban's voice came through the door, calm and cold. Julia.
Come out. We need to talk.
Julia stood behind the door, breathing hard. Nina whispered, Don't open it. Julia's voice was steady, but her hands were shaking.
Say what you need to say from there.
Esteban's tone sharpened. You're poisoning Alma. Julia spoke loud enough for the neighbors to hear. I am telling the truth. Esteban laughed. Nobody will believe you. You're the unstable one. You always have been. Julia's throat tightened. Then Julia said something that stunned Nina. Maybe I was unstable because I was living inside your lies. Silence. Then Esteban's voice dropped. You are making yourself an enemy of the family. Julia replied, voice firm. Maybe the family needs an enemy if it refuses to face itself. Esteban paused, then knocked harder. Julia lifted her phone. If you don't leave, I'm calling for help. Esteban stepped back. Not because he respected Julia. Because he did not want witnesses. And, my friends, again, control hates witnesses. That night, Grandma Clara launched a full campaign. She messaged everyone. She called everyone. She cried on speakerphone. She told her version of the story where Julia was a bitter woman trying to destroy love. She said Alma was fragile and needed protection. She said the children were in danger because Julia was toxic. Nina watched the group chat and felt her blood boil. Then Mara did something unexpected. Mara typed one sentence into the chat. Children are not tools.
Stop using them.
The chat went quiet. And that silence was loud. Because people in the family were finally confronted with a line they could not prettify. A week later, Alma showed up at Julia's place again. This time, Alma looked like she had made a decision. Not a final decision, but a direction. Alma sat down and whispered, I think this isn't normal. Julia nodded slowly.
No.
It isn't. Alma's face crumpled. What if I ruined everything? Julia reached for her hand. Then we rebuild.
Carefully.
With truth. With safety. Alma sobbed quietly. I'm scared of him. Julia's eyes filled with tears too, but her voice stayed steady. Then we make a plan that keeps you safe. And, my friends, that was the real turning point. Not leaving. Not yelling. Not revenge. A plan. Because surviving control is not a moment. It's a process. Alma started taking steps. Small ones. She changed passwords. She saved important numbers. She kept copies of documents. She told a trusted friend. She began writing down incidents, dates, details, because memory gets blurry when fear is constant. Nina watched Alma move like someone learning to walk again. And Nina wanted to shake the family and shout, How did you let it get here? But families like this do not ask how. They ask who will keep the secret. Then came the day Alma told Esteban she was taking the kids to the park. Esteban smiled. It'll come. Alma swallowed.
No.
I want it to be just us. Esteban's eyes hardened.
Why?
Alma's hands shook, but she held steady. Because they need time with their mom, without someone hovering. Esteban's smile returned, but it looked like a blade. After everything I do for you? Alma surprised herself. I didn't ask you to do it. Esteban went still. Just for a second. But that second was everything. Because people like Esteban rely on the script. And Alma had just changed a line. Later, the older kid said something in the back seat on the way home from the park. Mom, why does Dad get mad when we ask questions? Alma's throat tightened. Alma gripped the steering wheel. Then Alma said softly, because Dad doesn't like feeling confused. The kid frowned. But we're the ones confused. Alma's eyes filled with tears. She blinked them back. I know, baby. And right there, my friends, Alma finally heard it. The children were paying the price. Eventually, Alma did leave. Not with fireworks. Not with a dramatic suitcase scene. With careful steps, support, and safety. Julia helped. Mara helped. Nina helped where she could. Alma moved into a small apartment with the kids. The first night, the kids asked if Dad was coming. Alma swallowed and said, Dad is not living with us right now. The older kid asked, uncertain, Is he still my dad? Alma nodded. Yes. The kid paused, then asked the question that made Alma cry. Then why did I call him my uncle? Alma hugged the child and whispered, Because adults made things confusing. And that wasn't your job to fix. Esteban reacted exactly how control reacts. He played victim. He told everyone Alma was unstable. He told everyone Julia kidnapped her own daughter. Grandma Clara called Alma and left voicemails full of tears and fury. Grandma Clara said Alma was ungrateful. Grandma Clara said Alma was ruining the family name. Alma listened, shaking, then deleted them. Not because it did not hurt. Because Alma finally understood. Grandma Clara's love was conditional. Grandma Clara's love was a contract. And Alma had stopped signing. Months later, the kids started to relax. The older kid stopped drawing stick figures with question marks. The younger kid stopped flinching when someone raised their voice. Julia visited often. Not as Aunt Grandma whatever, just as Grandma Julia. One day at the park, the older kid said something casually while licking an ice cream cone. Grandma, Dad doesn't live with us. Julia's throat tightened. The kid added, like it was weather. Now he's just my dad. Not my uncle. Julia smiled through tears. Yeah, baby. Just your dad. Nina watched from a distance and felt relief wash over her. Because sometimes resolution is not clean. It is just safer. It is just better. It is just less confusing for the kids who never asked for any of it. Now the family was split. Grandma Clara still had loyal followers. People who preferred peace over truth. People who called boundaries disrespect. People who thought silence was the same as unity. But there were also cracks. Some relatives stopped responding to Grandma Clara's rants. Some quietly reached out to Julia. Some apologized for believing the wrong story. And that, my friends, is how a control system collapses. Not with one dramatic explosion. With 100 tiny refusals.
So here's the question. What would you do in my place? Would you cut contact to protect your peace? Would you stay close to be a lifeline? Would you confront the matriarch and risk becoming the next target? And what about Alma? Do you think she was complicit? Or do you think she was shaped by a lifelong power dynamic she didn't fully understand until she became a mother? Because this is the part that people avoid. Absurd family confusion can be funny from a distance, but up close, it can be a map of control. Comment below, my friends. I need to know what you would do in this situation.